Welcome to Maundy Thursday here at PCMK. Our virtual service this year we're calling a meditation in word and song. We're so glad that you have joined us this evening as we prepare spiritually for Easter. I will read from the Gospel of John, chapter 13 and 14, and then share a meditation in word, followed then by a meditation in song, some beautiful music provided by our musicians. May this meditation in word and song be a blessing to you this Holy Week. John chapter 13, verses 31 through 14, verse 5. So when he had gone out, Jesus said, "Now the Son of Man is glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself and glorify him immediately. Little children, I shall be with you a little while longer. You will seek me, and as I said to the Jews, where I am going, you cannot come. So now I say to you, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this will all know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, where are you going?" Jesus answered him, "Where I am going, you cannot follow me now, but you shall follow me afterward." Peter said to him, "Lord, why can I not follow you now? I will lay down my life for your sake." Jesus answered him, "Will you lay down your life for my sake? Most assuredly I say to you, the rooster shall not crow till you have denied me 3 times. Chapter 14. Let not your heart be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, what I have told you, I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Well, recently someone asked me, what's more important, Maundy Thursday or Good Friday? Naturally, I said they are both important days during Holy Week, but I said to her, in my experience, Presbyterians have put more emphasis on Maundy Thursday. I think most churches follow the same practice that we do here at PCMK, which is to have a service on Thursday evening, which then prepares us for the rest of Holy Week. But we often do not hold a Good Friday service. And that got me thinking why that is. Why are we more comfortable with a service on Holy Thursday but not on Good Friday? I wonder if the crucifixion isn't just a little too intense for us. Even though it is a sad event, the Last Supper, which is the focus of Maundy Thursday, is much more familiar and something we can celebrate as a community. Good Friday is so intense, I've come to think that we each need to remember it in our own way. Some like to go to a church service. Others like some time of silent meditation in a sanctuary or a garden, while others just spend a few moments in prayer and reflection. I hope you take time to remember those hours that our Lord was on the cross tomorrow afternoon. But today is the time to remember the last words Jesus shared with his friends on that last evening together. The traditional gospel reading for Maundy Thursday is from John 13, where Jesus says, "A new commandment I give you, that you love one another." A new commandment, or a new mandate from the Latin mandatum, is where we get the name Maundy Thursday. It's all about these important last words from Jesus. Last words from people we love are important, aren't they? Maybe you can remember the last things a loved one said to you before they passed away, or what you said to them. If it was warm and loving, you treasure it, but if it was a moment of frustration or anger, it can haunt you for a long time. It reminds us to be careful what we say to those we love every day. We never know when it might be the last words that we share. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. seemed to have a premonition when he spoke to that crowded church in Memphis the night before he died. It was his last night with his friends and supporters. At the end of a very long speech, he shared these words, and I quote, "Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop, and I don't mind. Like anybody, I'd like to live a long life. Longevity has its place, but I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And God's allowed me to go up to the mountain, and I've looked over, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we, as a people, will get to the promised land. And so I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord." End of quote. Some of the most poignant last words ever spoken, I'm sure. Jesus knew that his time on earth was nearing an end as well. Like Dr. King, he knew the forces of evil were gathering around him and against him. He knew this would be their last meal together. So he too gave a very long speech that night. It covers over 4 chapters in the Gospel of John. He didn't want to waste any time or any words. He had a lot to say, so he got right to it. It was an emotional speech. You could even call it a lament. He was lamenting the end of his time with his friends. And they too were in a mood to lament. They could tell something was wrong. It was a time of lament, but it was a lament with a purpose. Lament has been our theme throughout Lent this year, and on this final reflection of the season, we can see that lament ultimately does have a purpose. We lament because life is precious. We lament because life is short. We lament because there is so much to do and so little time. We lament so that we can focus on what is most important in life. Maundy Thursday is certainly a time of lament, but it is a lament with a purpose. Jesus had a purpose that night, a purpose of cosmic importance. But he left us with a purpose too. Jesus lamented because he knew he was leaving his friends. At first he said, "You cannot go with me," which confused them. Peter proudly proclaimed that he would follow Jesus anywhere, even die for him, to which Jesus rebuked him with the prophecy that he would betray Jesus 3 times that very night. No, Jesus said they could not go with him because his purpose was only for him. He needed to face the cross alone. He knew his friends wanted to be there with him, but he gave them a different purpose. He said their job, their purpose, their commandment was to love one another. That's it. It wasn't to take up arms to defend Jesus against the Romans. It wasn't to somehow get themselves arrested and crucified with him. Their job was to love one another. Their lament that night was to lead them to love. Love for Jesus, first of all, but love for one another. That was going to be the sign of the kingdom for all time. By this will all people know that you are my disciples, that you love one another. That is our purpose even today. That is our mission statement. That is where our lament should lead us, to love each other and to love our neighbors, and even, yes, to love our enemies. Lament leads us to love. Then, like Dr. King, Jesus gives them a vision of where this all leads. Dr. King spoke of the promised land, and Jesus said, "I'm going to a place where all will be well, where each of you will have a home and a purpose. Each one of you will be loved." We call it heaven. That's where lament leads us to. It's love. That's what Maundy Thursday is all about, is love. One of the most love-filled people I've ever known or read about is Henry Nouwen, Catholic priest and author of many books on spirituality. I'll never forget meeting him in person at an outdoor ecumenical service in the Oakland, Berkeley Hills. Elizabeth sang a solo in the service, and then Nowen spoke about love. He basically begged us all to love one another. His words and manner reminded me of Jesus telling his disciples to love one another that last night together. I don't remember the exact words Nowen said, but this quote from one of his books basically says it all. Nowen died in 1996, but his love is still felt today. He says, and I quote, "Did I offer peace today? Did I bring a smile to someone's face? Did I say words of healing? Did I let go of my anger and resentment? Did I forgive? Did I love?" These are the real questions. I must trust that the little bit of love that I sow now will bear many fruits here in this world and the life to come. End of quote. So now, let the music deepen your love for God and your commitment to love one another. May God bless you as we journey through these holy days together until we sing our Alleluias on Easter morning. Amen.
This Holy Week, Nova Tabrak, our School of Voces, and I are bringing you a brief Lenten music program. We're going to frame this with two very famous chorales, both arranged by Johann Sebastian Bach. To begin, Herzlich tut mich verlangen. This is our Passion Chorale, found at number 98 in our hymnal, O Sacred Head Now Wounded. At the conclusion, you're going to hear Herr liebst du Jesu, was hast du verbrochen? This is number 93, Ah, Holy Jesus. Between these two chorales, you're going to hear two movements from Johann Sebastian Bach's Cantata number 147. First, you're going to hear movement 5, a soprano aria, which my wife Lisa Flanagan will sing. Bereite dir Jesu noch itzo die Bahn. Following that, our schola will sing perhaps one of Bach's most famous chorales, Wohl mir, dass ich Jesum habe. The English will show on your screen as the music is being sung. I hope you enjoy this Lenten music.